Alright, what is going on, guys? Scarrrz here, or Brian, whatever you'd like to call me. And I just now, first of all, before I even record the video, I just realized I'm wearing the same shirt I did in the last video. I promise it's coincidental. I don't wear the same fucking shirt for, a week straight. It's just every Friday I wear this shirt to, support my company. But it's a good thing. That means I get to come home, enjoy my weekend, make some videos, and that's what I'm here to do. But anyways, I'm here to bring you guys a pretty cool little video today, maybe something that'll help out a lot of folks that are just coming into my channel recently for my Vietnam video. If you guys haven't already checked that out, I'm going to link it in the description below. Please watch it. Just an informational video about me moving to Vietnam, and I would highly suggest checking it out. But this video is going to be geared more towards moving to another country, because I know some folks definitely have their sights set on moving to another country in the future. This isn't more for people who are just visiting, but more for people who are staying long term. If you guys don't know, like I just mentioned, I'm moving to Vietnam this November. Obviously I haven't moved there yet, so I don't have first-hand experience of doing it, but in terms of all the research and videos I've watched of other people's experiences, I think this is a pretty good informational video that can at least give you basic methods on how to prepare for a long-term stay in another country. So one of the first, and I would say most important things for you to do when it comes to moving to another country is, first of all, be financially prepared, man. If you're not financially prepared, none of the other stuff I'm going to list today is just, it's not going to matter. I think financial responsibility is very important to ensure any possibility of moving to another country. That's really the most important thing. Having a residual income, so take care of the things you need to do in your country, and then with that residual income that you've saved up, that's when you want to make that push to go ahead and move forward with moving to another country. So that's really important. But in addition to that, apart from the residual income, once you're actually there, you're going to need a consistent income, to ensure that you're paying your bills and your rent in that new country. And that's really important to either get what I got, which is a TEFL certificate. It's in here. I can't obviously show it's got my full legal name on there, but it's basically a teach English as a foreign language, which I can make a whole nother separate video on it if you guys really want to see how I went through that process. But when it comes to the TEFL certificate training, I would just really Google search it. Like I said, I'm not going to go in great detail in this video, but just type in TEFL, TEFL. Research it. There is ways to get it cheaper. I used Groupon personally. If you go to Groupon and you type in TEFL, you could probably find a really cheap one. Make sure you check the reviews. That's always important. Make sure it's accredited, and bam, you're good to go. But if you're not doing English teaching in other countries, really think about looking for other job opportunities. See what's popular in that country. See what kind of you want to revolve yourself around, because not everybody wants to teach English. It's obviously the easiest way to get a job in a lot of non-English speaking countries, especially like Southeast Asia where I'm moving to. But if it's not your style, I know there's definitely guys who are doing other jobs. Like there's people who are DJs, there's people working at hotels, even retail places probably. It's more complicated, I would assume, in those situations, because your lack of communication could definitely hinder your ability in those jobs. But when it comes to teaching English, it's really a perfect job for most people. But it's really up to you, in the end, when it comes to job opportunities. And for me, it just happens to be TEFL, just like most other people are doing. So yeah, that's how it works there. Another very important aspect is your visa cost. I think that's really important to ensure that you have your visa situation good to go. Every country has different visa requirements, so definitely do your research. Don't just fly out on a whim. Think all you need is your passport, and then you fly out, and then when you get there, it's like, oh, I needed a visa, and then they send you right back to your home country. That'd be a waste of time, money, and just emotional distress. So please look up. Research into seeing if that country requires a visa, and if it does, what requirements entail with that. That's a very important aspect of your financial financial abilities to go as well. In addition to that, make sure you have your plane ticket situated. So the visa and the plane ticket kind of go hand in hand with your residual income, but your residual income should be like after you get these I really suggest first getting your plane ticket, and after that getting your visa, and then building your residual income. Like I said, plane ticket's obviously important because how else are you going to get there unless it's a country you could technically drive to, which isn't very many situations. So make sure you have the plane ticket situated, the visa situated, and then start building your residual income. So that way you can have extra money once you get there, and then work on your consistent income from jobs or whatever the case might be. Physically prepared. All right, this is obviously very important. It goes hand in hand with being financially prepared, but it's more on the physical objects that you may or may not need when you're going there. The visa is technically being physically prepared, but it goes more into your finances than anything. That's why I listed it there. First of all, extra clothes. I think that's really important. Make sure you have some extra clothing. If you just got some old clothing that's kind of raggedy, you know, and getting old, make sure you keep that in mind when you move to another country, especially if you're a larger person like myself. I'm 6'6". I'm a big guy. You know, I need to make sure I get clothes here in my country that fit me before I move to a country like Vietnam, where most people are very slim. So really keep that in mind before you move to another country. Make sure you have clothing that fits you. And also clothing that's suited to the weather that you're moving to. Vietnam is it differentiates itself just depending where you live. For example, I'm going to move to Hanoi, where it's basically humid all year round except the winter time, the fall and winter time, where it actually does get bone chilling cold at times with the rain situation. So for me personally, I would probably want to have nice, mostly warm clothing, but prepare myself for the winter times. Maybe jeans, hoodies, jackets. Ladies, I don't know what you'll do, however the ladies set it up. But for men, at least, that's really the way to go for a place like that. But anywhere like Ho Chi Minh City, Da Nang, you know, any of those middle and southern parts of the country, I think for the most part, you really don't have to worry about wearing warmer clothing. I think you'll get away just fine wearing summer clothing. But yeah, clothing is pretty important. I would not suggest getting like bath supplies, you know, like shampoos and conditioners and stuff like that, deodorant. I would really advise to wait till you actually get to the country, unless you could purchase travel size. And that's exactly why I mentioned that, because as you're going through TSA, if you buy a bunch of shampoo and all this other stuff prior to going into TSA for your airport, into the airport prior to flying out, they might, you know, throw that stuff out because of the travel restrictions. So definitely keep that in mind. Get the travel friendly versions once you're actually in there. I know it costs a lot. If you want to wait till you actually get to the country where you're going to, by all means do that as well. But keep that in mind as well. You don't want to waste extra money on buying bath supplies that's going to get thrown out at TSA. So definitely keep that in mind. Plug adapters. I think that's really important aspect. I actually just got these off of Amazon recently. I have, whoa, I just dropped almost all of them. I have these Vietnam friendly plug adapters. I forgot what type it is, but as you can tell, you can put like an American standard plug in there, and then you plug that into a wall, and then bam, you're definitely good to go. I've got like 6 of these things. So depending on what country you're moving to, it's really important to keep in mind on plugs, making sure you're, obviously most modern technology when it comes to plug-in technology is converters. So it'll convert the amount of voltage or energy that it needs into one of these plugins, and then you put it into the wall. I'm still very kind of confused when it comes to conversions of voltage, but just make sure, most importantly, you have the right type of plug-in for the country you're moving to. So for me, for Vietnam, that's exactly the one I needed. So definitely Google search. It won't take you too long to figure it out. I found it from YouTube. I just typed in plug-in adapter Vietnam on YouTube, and I found multiple videos with that exact plug-in that I bought. So that's how you do it there. Technology. Now, this is a pretty important aspect, I would say. I mean, especially if you're going to be in a, you know, country long term, you definitely want to make sure you're staying linked to everything that's going on. So obviously, cell phones. I mean, that's kind of a given, obviously. But more importantly, with the cell phone situation is the data / SIM card situation. You want to ensure that whenever you're moving to another country, you do have a SIM card that is going to work in that country. It might change your phone number, so make sure you do a little bit of research on that. Most importantly, make sure your phone can be unlocked. If you have a phone right now that's under a contract that you haven't paid off yet, you're going to run into a lot of complications with that when you go to another country, because your phone won't be unlocked because you haven't paid it off yet. and you won't be able to transfer your SIM card. It's not going to work. So make sure you have a fully paid phone, you're not under any contracts, and make sure you're getting the right SIM card plan. I would definitely make sure you're doing research on that. With a country like Vietnam, for example, the coverage is fantastic for most of the country. I know there's a couple of carriers that are better than others, but for the most part, it's very good in Vietnam from what I've seen. So I'll definitely be doing a little bit more research prior to going. It's advised that you most likely stay away from the SIM card stores in the airport because they may charge you a little bit more. It's usually preferred to go to an authorized SIM card store when you can, but it's really under your preference. As long as you feel like it's credible and it works and it's not a ridiculous price, and you should be good to go. One other really important aspect is the currency. Really keep in mind the currency exchange rates, how much value your American US dollar, whatever other country you're in has compared to the currency of the country you're moving to. For example, with the US dollar, I'm using an app called XE Currency, and as you could probably tell, you could see that $1 US equals that amount in those different types of currencies. And I just added the Vietnamese dong as well, since obviously I'm moving to Vietnam. You can see $1 US equals about 23,000 Vietnamese dong. So I would say that is a really important aspect as well, is to ensure that you know what kind of currency exchange rate applies in the country you're moving to. I would say do your currency exchange rate at any institution that offers it, maybe the airport as well. I don't know what you're going to get a better deal on. I'm very new, honestly, to the currency exchange thing, as I haven't exchanged any of my money yet because I haven't actually gotten that close to moving. But definitely keep the currency exchange rate in mind prior to your move to a country, and I highly suggest downloading XE Currency. I think it's a really great app. Very important, obviously. This is kind of documentation, but it goes more of the physical things that you should already have. First and foremost, your passport. Obviously, if you don't even have your passport, I don't understand how you're gonna get to a lot of the countries that you're supposed to, because you have to have your passport to go to other countries, right? That's obviously step number one. Before anything, even the financial stuff, if you don't even have your passport, I strongly suggest you get that, or else none of this even matters. That goes hand in hand with the visa situation. Once you have your passport, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't go to another country unless there's not any visa restrictions. So definitely do your visa research along with your passport. And then other things like, debit cards, credit cards, your driver's license, not necessarily important in other countries, but if you have another form of documentation that can help, social security, all that's important. And obviously with the debit card and the credit card situation, it can be a little bit spotty in other countries. It depends who you're banking with too. That can cause complications in itself. So definitely do some research on that. See if you can bank with a local bank in that country and what kind of rules they have outlined around that. It's definitely a little bit of stuff to think about, but it's very important to ensure that you're going to have a successful and consistent long-term stay in another country. Okay, so this one is kind of hits right at home for me personally, but it's being mentally prepared. I mean, obviously being financially prepared is probably the most important, and then alongside with that, physically prepared. But something else you really need to consider is being mentally prepared for what you're going to do. So the most important thing I can mention on this that I wrote down was knowing what you're getting into, and that really is so important. A lot of people might watch, like a video or two, or hear something about the country, and then they go off on a whim, like, wow, I just want to go there because they got crazy parties, or whatever the case might be. I don't know where their mind's going, but before you actually move forward with doing that, please do a lot of research. I did most of my research through YouTube, and I did a lot of extensive research onto specific things about the country that I'm moving to. YouTube, I can't say enough good things about YouTube when it comes to doing research. I mean, that's why you guys are checking out my video right now. This is probably helping you do some research into your idea of moving to another country. So yeah, definitely know what you're getting yourself into before you do it. I really think that's the most important aspect. Knowing people prior to moving, friends and acquaintances, I would say that's quite important. I wouldn't say it's extremely important for you to do that, but it can definitely help with a more consistent, way of kind of getting introduced into the country and kind of learning the laws and how everything works, the culture. I really think that's important, getting to know people from there, and it just might make you feel more comfortable in general, like knowing somebody that is from that country, and that'll definitely get you acclimated to it, I think. And then really to kind of, mix everything together into one for being mentally prepared is being 110% confident in your decision. It's more than just knowing what you're getting into. It's about making sure you're confident that this is the right decision you're going to make. A lot of people, they might just be sick of their jobs just to be sick of it, and they're like, I'm just going to move to another country, just why not? And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. That's technically what I'm doing, but it's more than that. It's really more about making sure this is what you're going to do. Really spend a lot of time thinking about it. At least spend a few months prior to even, getting everything prepared. Unless you already knew prior to that you did want to move to another country, kind of like what I did, then that's when I would really still think about it, but at the same time move forward with trying to get that accomplished with the move. So make for sure that this is what you want to do with your life, and go for it, man. Enjoy your life. That's really what's important there. Okay, so just to kind of recap one more time, being financially prepared is very important. Make sure you got all of your income situated. Again, I can't stress that enough. If you don't have your income situated, nothing else really matters. I really truly do think that's important. Make sure you have your finances in order, or else you're just going to run into a lot of problems once you're actually in another country. Being physically prepared, I mean, that just goes hand in hand with being financially prepared. You need to have those, together. Most things for being physically prepared. I mean, especially when it comes to your passport situation, having your cards that you need with you. Having the right supplies to survive in that country is very important. Obviously, when you're there in the country, you can get a lot of things that you might not necessarily need to get initially prior to moving there, but definitely keep in mind the things I mentioned before you move, so that way it's a smoother and more consistent acclimation to that country. And then again, being mentally prepared, like I was mentioning in my last video of me, talking about moving to Vietnam. I'm really pouring my heart out to you guys about the reason why I feel like me moving to Vietnam is a good idea. And that is the culmination of months and months and months of research and really just thinking about it. That's really kind of how I got to the point where I did, especially releasing a video on YouTube. I mean, that takes a lot for me to just tell everybody like, hey, I'm just getting up and moving to another country. And for a lot of people, it seems like maybe I just made that instinctively, like I only thought about it for a week or so and then I just made that video. No, guys, I've been thinking about this since last year, practically, about moving to Southeast Asia. And this is me actually now getting prepared for the process to move to another country. In addition to everything we mentioned, I'm also going to be opening up my Patreon. I mentioned it in my last video of me moving to Vietnam. So if you want to check out in the description below, I'll link my Patreon. You don't necessarily have to subscribe to it right now, but definitely keep it in mind because I'm going to be doing a lot of vlogs in Vietnam. Like I said, this is the start of a beautiful thing for YouTube in terms of my upload schedule, making vlogs, other cool videos when I'm there. And hopefully, if I get really lucky, I don't know what's going to happen necessarily, but maybe I could travel to other parts of Southeast Asia, maybe all over the world. That would be a dream come true for me. Obviously, I'm just keeping things realistic for now, but definitely think about checking out my Patreon once I get in the swing of things. I do actually already have a post on there, so if anybody wants to be my first Patreon, you might get to see that exclusive post before anybody else. So think about it, definitely. And if you guys have any questions or any ideas, definitely leave them in the comment section below. I absolutely love to answer any questions people have when it comes to anything related to what I'm doing, or just general curiosity about the country or the culture in general. I'm definitely always happy to answer any questions. Obviously, again, I haven't moved there yet, but I've done a lot of research. I'm sure I can answer general questions. So definitely let me know if you guys have any questions, like why are you still doing this? Sure, why not? Leave a comment below and I'm more than happy to answer you. But again, before anything, if you're kind of confused as to why this video exists, please check out my previous video. It's going to be the top of the description, unless it's my Patreon link. I don't know which one I'll put there first, but definitely check out the previous video about why I'm moving to Vietnam, so that way this video makes more sense. But more importantly, I really do hope this has been insightful to some of you folks that are thinking about potentially moving to another country. Again, this is not really a video more for people who are just visiting another country, although you can get the general gist of ideas from this as well, I suppose. But this is really geared more towards folks who are going out for the long term in another country. So definitely keep these things in mind. If you guys have any other questions, like I said, definitely leave in the comment section below. But thank you guys so much again for checking out this video. And also, before I end, I do want to give a little shout out to this is Ace Live. Shout out to Ace. He actually I'm in a little private chat group with him and a bunch of other of his subscribers. He asked me to link my Vietnam video to him, and other people started checking it out, and they've came to my channel, subscribed to. So Ace and all the other guys who have subbed to my channel, thank you so much, guys. Really do appreciate that. Ace is a vlogger that's currently in Vietnam. He's about to go to Thailand here very soon, but I've been really keeping up with his videos, and I'll link his channel in the description below as well, because he's an awesome dude. I really do suggest checking him out if you like, you know, just traveling vlogs. I mean, that's what I'm going to be doing soon, but check him out too, man. He's an awesome guy. So shout out to him and all the other guys who came along with it. So if any of you guys are watching this video, hey, leave a comment, man. I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. But that's it. Before I keep rambling, I'm going to end it. So thank you guys so much again for watching the video. Leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.